I've done quite a few videos over the years on GhostBSD, so when I found out there was a new version, I had to download it and give it a look. One thing I like about GhostBSD is that they never stand still. They're always fixing things or adding new features. And you can see on screen there's a whole host of changes, additions, etc. I'm not going to read them all out because there's quite a few, but if you want to pause the video and have a look yourself, or better still go to the GhostBSD website and you can actually read it there. And if we have a look at some bug fixes and security fixes. Again, if you want to pause it, you can check out the changes. Recently, the GhostBSD website has actually undergone a little bit of a makeover. And it looks very nice indeed. It actually matches the OS now, which is kind of cool. There's a little attention to detail, which I respect about the GhostBSD developers. And there are really 3 images that we can download. We can download the official image. We can download the community image or the latest build. The one that we're wanting is the official image, and this is the one with Mate. And we need to click on direct download. A direct download will take us to a mirror, which we should choose really, which is closest to us for fastest speed. So for me, it would be the French mirror. And that's it. It starts the download. And this is where you can make a small donation if you want. I've done that over the years. I really need to make another one. It's really just to say thanks to Eric and the developers for the work that they do on this great OS. Right, once we've downloaded, you can use any method you want. You can use Ector, etc. if you're using Linux or Windows. But for me, on FreeBSD, I prefer to use DD. You have to be careful with this to make sure that you get the right output device, because you don't want to be wiping your main drive. But if you know what you're doing, you know, it's fairly straightforward. And there it is. It's on a USB stick. I'll just safely eject that and put it in my test machine, if I can. Is it going to go in first? Yeah, it went in first time. Brilliant. So they are. And then power the machine up, like so. And there we go. And for those familiar with FreeBSD and indeed GhostBSD, you usually see the nice little menu screen. Nothing's changed. You've got boot, multi-user, which is the default option, boot single user, escape to load a prompt, reboot, change the console, which is I'll never change that. I don't know what that does. Your options for kernels, if you want to load a different kernel, and your boot options, which comes into play later. So we'll just press enter like so. There we go. Now this is loading off a USB and it's a USB 2 as well. So it's not the fastest in the world. But we'll let it run in relative normal time, in real time as they say. GhostBSD splash screen. And in a bit what it's going to do is it's going to transfer... Yeah, it's going to transfer it to RAM. And for this, I will fast forward. It's loading the various modules. System checks. Network discover. And if it's detected that we haven't got VirtualBox, so it's getting rid of that. And it's loading the NVIDIA driver, which I think is a pretty cool thing. So it detected that this test machine's got an old NVIDIA card. And that means we should, hopefully... We're going to do it? Well, it looks good. We've got a small cursor. And here we have the standard GhostBSD desktop. And here's a little comparison to one from 2015 showing that it has changed a little bit, but the overall theme, the overall feel is still the same. Right, so you've got the usual icons on the desktop, and at the top there in the menus we've got accessories and graphics and internet and office and sound and video and system tools. And the accessories, character map, Got calculator, plank, all the usual ones, plumber. I'm not going to read them all out. Things tend not to change between different versions. And you got a few graphics tools there, and Firefox. You got Office, well, lack of Office, we'll have a look at that later. Your Evolution is perhaps the more standout thing. Sound and video, you've got Rhythmbox, and VLC. VLC is a good player. System tools, you've got Kaja and System Monitor, etc. So and Fish at the bottom. That's interesting. So it's usually not changing that much. It's usually the usual things. And we'll have a look at System Monitor actually. And there we go. There's the current memory use and processor use. Remember, memory is high because everything's copied to RAM at the moment. And there's the version of GhostBSD 23.10.1 and Mate 1.26.0. I think from memory that's the latest one, I'm not sure. So it's not too bad. And you've got places, you've got home folder, desktop, computer, network, etc. And you've got the system tools. So you've got preferences, administration, and control center. And the usual things. Shut down, of course, quite useful. You got in the preferences, you've got hardware, internet, and network, look and feel, and personal. And in each one of them, again, you've got a little collection of tools that you may need, all of which can really be accessed via the control center anyway. I prefer to use a control center rather than going down individually. And one thing about GhostBSD I really enjoy is the control center. I know that sounds nerdy, but it's pretty useful. So really you don't have to touch the command line at all in GhostBSD, which kind of defies or bucks the trend that you usually see in BSD-based OSs. If you right-click on the desktop, you can create folders, launchers, arrange icons, and change the background if you wish. It's not a massive selection, but you know, the taste's really done, and that's fine. You don't want to do too many garish ones. And talking about garish, well, the theme isn't garish, and really it's quite sensible. And here we have the font selection if you want to change that. I'm just going to quickly make the text a little bit bigger because my old eyes can't see that well. There we go. Interface if you want to change some of the icons on the menus, etc. Which I don't tend to normally do. So that is the live session. It's pretty standard really for GhostBSD, which is a good thing. In fact, what I'm going to test now is I'm going to test the persistency. I'm going to create an empty folder there and see if it's still there once we install and reboot. I'm going to install something pretty light. I'm going to install Abiword and show that it's there once we install it. It remembers it, so when you boot up properly from the hard drive, it's still installed. I find it interesting that it doesn't remember that you've created a folder, but then again, everything's in RAM anyway, so it's probably not, you know, once you reset the machine, it's going to lose that. But it would have been good to see if there was some kind of persistency. I mean, like Nomad BSD, it's a live session, but everything's working off the USB stick. So once you power down the machine, it's there next time you go in. With GhostBSD, it's more like, you know, ethereal live session. It's like, it's not really there. It's not really there persistently. But it remembers what you've installed. So, I've installed it. And there we go. It would be nice to have Abiword as part of the default install so you can get some work done straight out of the box in the live session. But that's down to the developers, and I've said plenty before about that. It's their decisions, of course. So hello GhostBSD. I'm going to make it slightly bigger. I always forget that end bit there. I'm going to make that bigger as well. My OCD will be kicking in otherwise. There we go. Should I? No, I'm not. I'm going to test it. I'm going to test the printing. I want to see if it detects my network printer, which it does. Brilliant. It's detected the network printer, which is very, very nice, with no configuration. And here's the printout, just to show that it prints straight out of the live session. I don't want to save that. It's a shame I haven't got a word processor built in, but, you know, it's easy to add one. But for those without internet, the live session might not be as useful. Right, we're going to start the install. And one thing about GhostBSD, which I always see, is a massive selection of languages, which is very impressive. I like that. Just scroll back up there. I'm looking for English UK. Click on that. Next. And keyboard layout, again, you got a good selection. So I'm looking for English UK. Possibly. Well, did I see it then? Oh, there we go. And you can choose different keyboard models if you want. I always like to choose the Sun Type 7, but it doesn't seem to be on this particular one, so I'll just leave it as default. And you can choose a continent, time zone, and Europe. And it's interestingly, it goes straight for the capital cities rather than the countries and then the cities. But as you see sometimes in other OSs, so it goes from the continent to the capital city of, well, the one that you recognise. So it's going to have to be London for me. You can full disk configuration or custom. And if you choose custom, a little bit of partitioning going on there if you want. I'm going to leave that. I like to do it automatically. The once upon a time I used to do it all manually, but I can't be bothered these days. So click on full disk, which takes us to whether you want a different type of pulls. Single disk, 2 disk, 3 disk, 4, 5, or 2 plus stripe. I've only got 1 disk in this, so I'm going to do single. You can go with the default pull name, or you can change it. I'm going to change it to tank. I like to call it tank. Don't know why. It's just one of them things. Click on that because that's the disk we want to use. Going to leave that at default, and you're going to leave that at default. Click next. FreeBSD BIOS loader only. It's the only OS we're going on here. And then I'm going to choose a not so secure password. And it's telling me so. It's saying super weak. Gotta love this. So that is that. Yep, super weak. Put in a user, because without that, it's not much good. RoboNuggie. Hostname gets filled in. Just going to change it to test. Leave the username the same as the top. Another super weak password. And that should be it. We'll click install. And we'll leave it to do its thing. In the very ever so simple GhostBSD install. I absolutely love it. It's point and click. There you go. So we'll come back to that. And there we go. Fully installed. Installation is complete. You may need to restart, which we will. Right, we're booting up. I'm just going to let it count down. It doesn't take that long. And I'm going to let it boot in real time. It's running on an old computer, so it may not be as quick as your system. Especially if you run it on SSD. I think this is running on an old hard drive. But it doesn't take long. It's going through the motions as usual. And it's going to automatically log in, hopefully. And it did. Or automatically built up into the login screen, that's what I meant. Right, I was have a quick look here. There's the name of the test machine. There's accessibility, keyboard, time, date, and quit. And we'll just log in. There we are. And as expected, really, it didn't keep the new folder. It would have been good if it had. But I didn't expect it to. And we'll have a look down at the Office. Yeah, and Abiword is still there. So it remembers any installed apps you put in, but perhaps not any of the data that may be stored in the live session. So you're going to have to plug in something else to store that to, or store it online. Right, so what we're going to do is... Oh, the fonts look a bit small. Don't think it saved that from last time. So I'm just going to quickly change the fonts back up. There we are. It's a little bit more readable for me now. And, okay, So back in the control center, we're going to have a look at what I think are some of the best features of GhostBSD, and that's its station apps. First we're going to look up is backup station. Because GhostBSD uses ZFS, you can create a boot backup of your working system, which I think is fantastic. It's almost like Time Machine, I suppose, in a way. It takes a snapshot. So really, if you're doing anything, upgrading or just generally, tweaking the system as we all do from time to time, if you make a mistake, it will create a backup, in which case you can roll it back to get back to a working state if you manage to foobar it, which I used to do a lot. So you can either create, rename, delete, activate, mount, or unmount. And there is a default one there already. So we're going to create a new one. And normally you just name of the OS plus the date that it was created. So there we go. So if I make a mistake from now on, I'll just roll back to that one. And next we're going to look at update station. And as you can guess, this looks at the updates in the system. And we have a few available, which is not too bad actually. We've got Firefox. Okay. And try to get this thing at the bottom. Ghost script. Yeah, a bit problematic for me earlier on, was that? In FreeBSD. And yeah, okay. And it creates a boot environment backup anyway if you upgrade, which is pretty cool. So it does it automatically. You don't have to do it manually like I just shown you. It will do it for you. So once you start the upgrade, we'll just leave it. Now my network connection is not the fastest, and it's not going to get any time soon. So while we're waiting for that, we'll have a look at something else. Print settings. You should call this print station. That'd be pretty good. So it didn't remember the printer setup, which again is it one unlock? Oh, now see that. It opened up behind everything else, so that could be, and even that's behind that. It could be a little bit misleading, that. So maybe, I don't know. I'm just going to arrange things around so we can see what we're doing. Put the password in. Yeah, so it opened up behind the window. So if you weren't used to that, maybe you'd be looking around for it. So let's see if we can still add a printer. It's a network printer, so we're going to find network printer. I know the... oh no, it's brought it up. That's pretty good. Click on that one. Or it could be that one. No, it's definitely that one. And connection app socket. Okay. Scanning for drivers. Yeah, I use generic drivers and then PCL laser. Always done that. That works fine for my Xerox B230. So that's fine. Yeah, I'll apply that. Would you like to print a test page? I would indeed. And it seems... Has it done it? Yeah, there it is, look. Newly printed plus greasy fingerprints, because I've just eaten an egg sandwich, of a PCL laser. There we go. Yeah, so that works out of the box. That's quite impressive. I like that. Didn't remember it from the live session, but that's fine. It's easy to set up. There we go. So, impressed with that. Number of times I used to have problems with printers, but, might be the new printer I'm using. It might be improvements in GhostBSD. I don't know. But it worked. It's still downloading, so that's... yeah, we'll carry on. Software station you've already seen. I can't do that while that's doing that. Update station. There's if you want to adjust the displays, if you've got more than one monitor. And yeah, change the refresh rate, so we don't need to change anything on that. Next we'll have a look at keyboard, and for layout let's have a look if they've got the keyboard that I like to put on. So you got your generic one there. Scroll down to Sun, is it there? Oh, they've got Sun. And they've got Sun Type 7. There you go. Lovely keyboards, these. I'm not going to change that on this particular one, but they've got it there. You've got accessibility if you want to, which I think I do need to change some settings. You've got mouse. That's interesting. And typing break. In mouse keys, if you don't have an attached mouse when you want to use the keys as a replacement mouse. You've got keyboard settings if you want to do any keyboard shortcuts, if that's your thing. I should learn more shortcuts. You can change the mouse settings for speed and double click, etc. Power management, if you want the screensaver to come on if it's inactive, which I don't. I want to turn that off for the moment. And in general, if you want to, icon and ask and suspend. It's not really applicable on this one. Time and well, it was going to be the time and date manager, but we got a get NTP state error. And it will not let me do that. Maybe just one book to maybe look at, Eric, if you're watching. No, it's not going to do it. Okay, well, sometimes these things happen. Network proxy, I don't have one at the moment, so we won't change that. And ignored host if you want to add some there. Very good. Appearance we had a quick look at, so they've got a very basic theme and backgrounds. Fonts you've seen twice now. Interface, again, if you want to change the icons and directories and stuff like that. Right, let's crack on. You got main menu if you want to change any of the, I don't know, say like icons or menu entries, which is always useful. And close that. Pop-up notifications. You don't normally pay much attention to this, but it's little change in details like this I like. I like that one. Coco. Standard is that one. No, that's fine. Might change it to that one. You got Nodoka. I'm not keen on that one. And slider. I'll change it back to Coco because I like that one. I think that actually goes with the theme of the desktop. Use active monitor, top right position, etc. Screensaver. Well, the screensaver, it's pretty basic, as you'd probably imagine. And would be nice if instead of like floating gnomes, you got floating either BSD symbols or floating GhostBSD icons. That'd be pretty cool. I don't know how you'd go about creating a screensaver thing, but if someone could, that'd be pretty neat. So let's change it back to blank and close. Station tweak is another one of the station apps. Maybe that should have been moved to the top one, but and this lets you change whether you want icons on the screen, if you want nothing on the desktop, if you want it nice and clean, or putting them back, then this is the thing for you. I prefer loads of icons and things like on the desktop because I'm messy that way. You can show icons on menus or change the layout and the icon size, and it's pretty good. One thing I do like is changing this. It's like pre-built in, but you can change the look of your desktop to different systems. So one called Windowy, it changes it to a more, you can imagine it changes it to like a Windows type menu at the bottom left hand corner there. So that's pretty neat. Click on that and it'll, populates it up. And you can either change it to Element, which I think, if memory serves me, there we go. It's almost like a Mac-like experience, I think. I've never used a Mac, but if I did, I should imagine this is what it feels like. You got Classy. There's a slight difference there. Yeah, that's nice. With a like a global menu at the top. Purity. I have no idea. Oh, look, the download, the installing updates shifting a bit. Don't know what happens with that one. Not so much going on with that. And you've got netbook, which takes it to the top left. Almost like the old GNOME 2 way of doing things. So yeah, I'm going to change it back to Mate Desktop. Much nicer, I think. But you know, it depends on your own taste. And then we've got Windows. You can change different aspects of how you interact with your Windows. So normally the default is that the contents move when you move a window. You can change it so it just moves the frame. And I'll put that back there. And you can use compositing if you wish. I'm divided on this. On the one hand, I think it worked a little bit better without compositing. But then again, well, just on this whole computer. But then again, compositing gives you this lovely shadow, which gives you better definition. You can change whether or not the little control icons on the top right or top left. And you can change Marco. Yeah, that's the same thing, really. So, yeah. Oh, so I think it's installed the updates, which is the... Shall I start later or start now? I'll start now. Get the updates installed. And quickly come back once it's rebooted. Diddle-diddle-diddle. There we go. Right, so all the updates are installed, which is pretty nice. Took long enough to download, but it's at least they're done now. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show the software station. So installing software in GhostBSD is, as you imagine, really easy. You know, you come up with, for those used to a package manager, you will not be disappointed by this. I'm just going to quickly breeze through installing some software that I can show you. And I'll fast forward all of it because it does take a long time. Like I said, I don't know whether it's my network or it could be the GhostBSD servers, although I actually think it's my network. And I'm just going to check my network. Yeah, it's very slow. So this is, I think, going to take a while to do. So in the meantime, what we're going to have a quick look at. We'll have a quick. For those who may want to know, we'll have a quick look at top. And yeah, I just put. Well, that's fish. Okay, I'm not used to using fish. There's top for those who may be interested. That's not too bad. And we'll look at the disk file structure. We'll look at it using df first. There you are. And because we're using ZFS, we'll put ZFS list, which is more or less the preferred way. It shows you how things are laid out. Right, are we... okay, I've got 1 gigabyte to be downloaded. Okay, it's going to take a long time. So I'm just going to skip to the end, and by magic, it's all done. Look at that. All finished. We've got some games installed. We've got Zero AD, which we'll have a look at first. Hopefully, all the icons change, yeah. So you got Zero AD. Zero AD is it's a beautiful looking game. And for those people into sort of like these like God games, I think you get a lot of praise for it because of its, I don't want to say accuracy, but of its complexity. It's beyond the scope for me, of course. I like basic games like Noughts and Crosses is something I can manage. But I can appreciate how this game looks. And I do get some grasp of the concept of it. I mean, there used to be similar games to this on the Amiga back in the day. So, yeah. But this is, you know, a whole new order of loveliness. I'm going to line these people up here and give them tasks to do. I think it's like micromanage everything, or macromanage the entire world. So I'm going to kill that chicken. They're going to kill it. Oh, my word. They're actually butchering the chicken. My goodness. Give them something more peaceful to do for this one. So pick some berries. Are they berries or are they flowers? I'm not sure. Still butchering that chicken. Oh my. Oh, giant pieces of it. That's enough of that. That's too bloodthirsty. So that, yeah, this is a gorgeous game. It's, yeah, very nice. And it runs really well, so on this old system. What else can we show? Oh yeah, I'll show you the webcam. I'm going to move the microphone out of the way because it was covering my face. Right, so, move that microphone back. Worked out of the box, which is impressive. Let's have a look at see if the flatbed scanner can work. I usually have trouble with this with FreeBSD. It's discovered it. That's a Canon LIDE 220. So it's looking hopeful. Maybe it will work. Preview scan, actually, I think. Invalid argument, yeah. This is an error I get from time to time on FreeBSD for no reason, really. So I'm not gonna bash GhostBSD for this not working, although it has detected it. But yeah, it's just one of those things, I guess. Right, what else can I show? We'll have a look at network servers, see if it's detected and picked them all up, which it has. That's good. For those who don't want to install their packages using a GUI, we can do it the old-fashioned way, and because, you know, the underlying base is FreeBSD. If we go into a terminal, and you put sudo pkg install, I don't know, LibreOffice, let's say. That's for the password. Yeah, we'll just say yes on that. The overall procedure is exactly the same as on FreeBSD. But with GhostBSD, you don't tend to really install from ports. Just, you know, you keep it in packages. So that's installed. And we'll check out the menu. Oh, they can already tell there it is, look. So you've got LibreOffice. So you've got all the latest and greatest. And you've got some games, you've got graphic apps, Office suites. Everything you could want is in GhostBSD. And hardware compatibility is not that bad. So is it starting up? There we go. And just close that. It's pain when you first start LibreOffice. There's a lot of things to close down and open up. And so zoom in there. And type hello. I'm going to leave it like that. Thanks very much. No save. So GhostBSD is an excellent OS, and every version just gets better and better. So GhostBSD, sum it down into easy, digestible bits. Well, it's easy to download, try and install. It's got a friendly community and helpful developers, which it really has. It's mature and stable, and every release is an incremental improvement. There's lots of software available, and it's with its own grown stations are a great idea as well. It's built upon FreeBSD 13.2 stable, and GhostBSD, because it's a rolling OS, it has no end of life, so you don't have to worry about upgrading before support stops, which is something that a lot of people in the Linux world will understand. And I've got to say that GhostBSD, for me, is a shining example of just how a community can come together with people who are passionately involved in it, with a vision, can develop something which a lot of people would say, oh, you know, what's the point? Or, you know, FreeBSD is just for servers, or it's no good for the desktop. And well, they come together with an idea. Let's make a FreeBSD-based desktop OS, and you know, hasn't got huge resources available, but over time has managed to pull together a fantastic, shining example of what FreeBSD can be. It can be you know, I use vanilla FreeBSD, and I install the desktop and the various things. So essentially you end up with your own grown version of GhostBSD. But if you don't want to do that, or perhaps you're not ready to do that, GhostBSD can provide it's kind of a gateway into the FreeBSD world. It's a ready-made, you know, you install it, all comes complete, and you can either stay with it like that, or then progress to using the command line if you want, and then if you want perhaps to do a bit more learning, and then move to FreeBSD and do it that way and build it up. But you don't have to. You can stay with GhostBSD. You are essentially getting FreeBSD ready-made out of the box with a desktop. And that's invaluable. It's brilliant. You are getting FreeBSD. I mean, I know it's called GhostBSD, but the underlying technology is FreeBSD. You could, I suppose, use GhostBSD to run your server if you wanted, you know, there's a lot of system admins out there who perhaps say, oh no, it's command line. And I understand that, and I would prefer that myself. But there are, given the fact that a lot of perhaps newer sysadmins who have been brought up upon Windows-based servers would prefer a kind of like a graphical way of managing it. And GhostBSD will provide that as well. So you could use it as a server, but I think primarily as a desktop, which is completely opposite to what most people would say about FreeBSD. They'll say that's primarily a server thing, and you can use it as a desktop. So it's weird, isn't it? So, GhostBSD, an excellent choice. What would I give it? Well, it's... I'm not going to give it anything less than a 5. GhostBSD 23.10.1 is 5 nuggets. And the reason being is because of everything I've outlined. Download GhostBSD, get it installed, and let us know what you think. Because I think GhostBSD is starting to get noticed more and more nowadays. And that's not a bad thing. I think it's about time that it got the recognition it surely deserves, if I can say it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.